haven't done one of these in a long time. Honestly, I'm probably not going to make a habit of doing them again. But I've come across a bunch of things lately having to do with relationships that all came together at the same time, had me thinking, and I felt I wanted to share that. The main question, I guess, that I was pondering is, why are we so snippy and defensive with the people that we've chosen to partner with? Like, we love them enough that we're choosing to partner with them, maybe for life, right? And yet we're suspicious of them. We're defensive when we're asked something. We're snippy. Like, one of the things that got me thinking about this was one of my neighbors. I was outside with my dog. The neighbor was walking by on the phone. She had him on speaker, and he was asking pretty benign questions like, oh, what do you want to do about dinner, or something like that. And she was giving like the snarkiest answers, like what? Like, it was like she had a very negative attitude. And she's not the first person I've seen with that. I grew up in a home, right? I've seen it as a therapist. Like, I've seen just a lot of that kind of irritation, like easily irritated with partners. So, and that got me thinking, like, why do we do that? Why do we partner with somebody, long term, let's say, and then grow to like be suspicious and defensive with them, and or feel like we're being attacked, where we have to defend ourselves. And some of the other things that got me thinking about this, or maybe the solution to it, right, is I teach a little bit about relationships in one of my classes, and one of the articles that I have them read, which I think is an amazing article, and I've sent it to a bunch of my couples when I do couples therapy, is called Masters of Love. It relies a lot on John Gottman's work, his research, but the author is Emily Esfahani-Smith. And somewhere on the big print, the bold print on the first page, it says, research has indicated the answer to happy relationships is simple kindness. Something like that. I'm probably butchering it. But kindness is the main thing, right? And then on a podcast I was listening to that brought up relationships, and not to mention, I listened to Esther Perel's Where Should We Begin every week, and the podcast I listened to this week, which I'm going to post today, is also like, there was a lot of snippiness, a lot of defensiveness. Like, every question was, there was a statement, but, a compliment, but, and then a criticism, right? Lots of criticism. And then the other thing, as I was saying, is another podcast I listened to had Yung Pueblo on it. He's a meditation writer or mindfulness writer. And I bought his book about how to love better, I think it's called. And I started that. I haven't finished it. I'm barely in it, like 25 pages in it. But he brings up kindness a number of times in those first 25 pages. And that kind of is the answer, right? Like, in the Gottman research, he found that whenever partners talk to each other, he calls that a bid. Like, if I start talking to my partner about anything, like, oh, like, how was your day? That's a bid. It's a bid for connection, right? And then there's 4 ways that the partner responds to their other partner's bid. And those are, there's 2 that are passive, 2 that are active, and then of those, 2 are constructive and 2 are destructive, right? And I'm going to try to go through those really quickly. You should read the article. It does a much better job. I think the example they give in the article is one of the partners gets admitted to grad school, right? So, the partner comes home and is like, hey, I got into grad school. And then active destructive would be like, oh, you sure you can handle it? What about the finances? Like, that costs so much money. You sure that's something you want to do? Like, kind of bringing them down, right? Passive destructive would be, you barely pay attention and you just keep scrolling on your phone. And then, passive constructive is like, oh, that's great, but then you talk about yourself. You change the subject. Like, you don't really spend the appropriate amount of time on it. And then active constructive would be, oh my goodness, that's great. Like, when did you find out? How did they let you know? Questions and positivity. I just think we need a lot more of that, and we need a lot more mindfulness when it comes to dealing with our partners, and maybe even just asking ourselves the question, like, I chose to partner with this person. Why do I respond so negatively? And I think part of the answer is vulnerability. Like, we're not comfortable being vulnerable, or maybe we feel vulnerable and we have felt let down. I was just with a client not long ago that was talking about, like, loved ones letting us down, right? And that happens. Like, every loved one is probably going to let you down at some point, but maybe we build up like a resentment or something for that. Anyhow, I figured I'd share those thoughts, and I hope it's helpful.